what if you had a word park? So, word park. Proper nouns are legible in any light and like to stay near their cages. They're the saunterers and the preeners, the peacocks who walk up to you and unfurl their fan of feathers, hello. To see a shy one, position yourself between two trees. Eventually, it'll get whisked into a sentence and will have to come out from the shadows. We stock the park with packs of verbs and ands, so the odds are in your favor. Lessons in tracking are given every hour on the hour. You'll learn to go unnoticed behind a lamppost, so you can get a glimpse of a squabble. Coats flapping shadow, tussling with wearing, because it wants to be the verb. The comma is the timid creature, ankle height cringing, you'll spot when you pause to look at the map. The dash is the sprinter in a thin coat of rain. Take a left for indirect objects. For conjunctions, straight ahead. Officially, the exotics are extinct, but you've heard about watchers in the cities training their binoculars on ledges half hidden by air conditioners, scanning the gutters for pairs of bright eyes. They know the ruses unsanctioned words use. They roll in the dirt to hide their vivid feathers. According to the tabloids, Chocolated made it halfway across the country, hopping from schoolyard to schoolyard in a convincing coat of mud. And last week, Varying was spotted hiding in the wake of a ferry. One watcher got a picture before the authorities harpooned it. In the photograph, the water is bluer than blue. All right, this book is titled Modern Life. I was trying to have a very vague title. I really love very specific titles, like Hymn to a Watermelon Pavilion. But for this book, I kind of wanted it to be able to resonate in different ways, and so I finally came up with Modern Life because I thought that was basically like putting a lucite block on the front. And that seems to have worked because often in reviews they'll call it Modern Times or something. So anyway, this is the title poem. It happens to have been inspired by something I heard on NPR about Houston right before I was going to teach there for a semester, that there were tiny particles of barbecue in the air above Houston. So you could imagine almost, netting them down. So then I fell asleep and had a dream about flowers made out of ham, and that was troubling. It made me not eat ham for a long time. And then it became this title poem. Implications for modern life. The ham flowers have veins and are rimmed in rind, each petal a little meat sunset. I deny all connection with the ham flowers, the barge floating by loaded with lard, the white flagstones like platelets in the blood-red road. I'll put the calves in coats so the ravens can't gore them, bandage up the cut gate, and when the wind rustles its muscles, I'll gather the seeds and burn them. But then I see a horse lying on the side of the road and think, you are sleeping, I will make you be sleeping. But if I didn't make the ham flowers, how can I make him get up? I made the ham flowers. Get up, dear animal. Here's your pasture flecked with pink, your oily river, your bleeding barn. Decide what to look at and how. If you lower your lashes, the blood looks like mud. If you stay, I will find you fresh hay. There's a series in this book called The Future of Terror and Terror of the Future. And I was trying to write about that phrase, the future of terror, because I was hearing it on the radio. It was post 9/11, and I thought I couldn't figure out how to write about it. And it was just this sort of vague, shapeless dread. And so I was just looking at the word future and terror in the dictionary, and I decided to try making lists of the words between future and terror. And suddenly I ended up writing 21 poems. So this can be a very generative device for you. There's a series called The Future of Terror, and then a series called Terror of the Future, which moves backwards alphabetically. And the future of terror tended to be sort of from more of a civilian point of view, a military point of view. Everyone's screwed in this situation. It's a post-apocalyptic world. Nothing's going well. But this is the military side, even though the division makes no real sense. The future of terror, 1. The Generalissimo's glance directed him to and fro. Geronimo said the ubergoon we called God, and we were off to the races. Never mind that we could only grow gray things, that inspecting the horse's gums in the gymnasium predicted a jagged road ahead. We were tired of hard news. It helped to turn down our hearing aids. We could already all do impeccable imitations of the idiot, his insistent incisors working on a stake as he said, "There's an intimacy to invasion." That much was true. When we got jaded about joyrides, we could always play games in the kitchen garden with the prisoners. Jump the gun, find kettle of fish, and kick the kidney were our favorites. The laws the linguists thought up were particularly lissome, full of magical loopholes that spit out medals. We had made the big time, but night still nipped at our heels. The navigator's needle swung strangely, oscillating between the oil wells and ask again later. We tried to pull ourselves together by practicing quarterback sneaks along the pylons, but the race to the ravine was starting to feel as real as the RIPs and roses carved into rock. Suddenly the sight of a school bag could send us scrambling. There's the next one I was going to read. Where are you? There you are. The Future of Terror, 7. We spun the globe to forget our grievances. Greenland gone. The Gulf a blurry gouache. We went on hay rides and watched the gulls glide overhead, though our health insurance no longer covered hay rides, only ice water, aspirin, and iris inspections, which the individualists outside the gate said infringed on their inalienable rights. They were just jumpy from the fake battles, all the actors keeling over with ketchup dripping from their lips. The kiss of peace, we called it, just to annoy the know-it-alls. The latest liquor, a liquid lucite stronger than any we'd tasted before, made our losses loom a little less. And there was the TV melodrama, on at 8, about the matchmaker we all loved. We cheered when she nodded, signaling she'd made a match. Never mind that her offbeat choices were often obviously calamitous. Had I pictured myself as a patriot on payroll, planting stories so we'd have one positive pull per quarter? It was no paradise fielding the quizzical looks, repeating, "I do not recollect," always sticking to script. But I knew my shelf life. I knew to hum the Star-Spangled Banner when I palmed that extra soda. I knew how not to look like I was dreaming of summer. Okay, and to end, I'm going to read a poem which is, it's called Our American Husbands, and my whole family is English and German, and they all have English accents, except for me because we moved here when I was 8. And so I realized that when I married an American and one of my sisters did, and I was really happy to have those accents in the family because now I wasn't the only one who sounded like rah, rah, rah to my family. So these are kind of superhero versions of American Husbands. There's nothing really true in this poem except that I have been a bruise for Halloween. And thank you so much for being such great listeners, and really thanks again to the students who read so beautifully, and to Megan who just made this a polka-dotted dream of a visit. Our American Husbands. Our American husbands were born on a day of cartoon clouds and neon sun. They don't remember their fathers whispering Ferris wheel lullabies over their cradles, but they can do somersaults while smoking. Their banter is full of data. They have kiss quotas and the shoulders of soldiers. While our small selves made toast points and played post office, they were practicing love-hate with the heads of state. I've asked, so I know our American husbands didn't have hamsters. They had can-do cats and piggy banks. Don't get me wrong, I've added up my toys a time or two, but when they whistle Dixie, I wonder. Remember the Halloween I was a bruise and you were a moving picture, and our American husbands picked masks that made the most of their noses? Sister, I envy that with the zippers on their jackets, they can mimic the sound of rain. When our American husbands take out the trash, the garbage engorged flies don't thud against their heads. They have extravagant smiles and can run for miles. When they go into their studies, they studied. Thank you so much.